Okay, thank you again for joining us. So what's new in V 2017? Here on the screen are the latest features within V 2017. It's not all of them. There are a huge number, but these are definitely the main points. Up in the top left there, the two big key developments in terms of new products are Hone, which is an optimization tool. It's evolutionary algorithm-based, using a GA2 algorithm there. I know from our beta testing team that this is big news for a lot of you. In addition to that, it's Sister Tool, the Parametric Tool, as well. So those are two new products. There's a couple of more big news items in here, but not to take away from the numerous major features that we can see. So yeah, enhancements or improvements to compliance. So Title 24, Part L here in the UK. We've got a new BIM interoperability navigator. This is another evolution of the interoperability ISV has with other data platforms. More specifically, maybe thinking about the idea of your architectural modeling tool and importing the 3D model from that tool into the virtual environment. This is another step forward with that. So I think now most of you will be fairly au fait with navigational workflows. So all our healing algorithms and all the interoperability components are within that navigational workflow, a step-by-step guide to achieving that. We'll go through that as well. We have geometric-based PV analysis. We've got parabolic solar collectors. We've got sub-metering. So again, you know, there's a huge advancement in the world of building operation. This is part of that. Tariff tools, air density, so taken into elevation of the building. Another big news item here, you know, we understand that it's impossible for any one company to meet every client's needs. We do it obviously the best we can, we hope we do, in the best part of that. But now, wouldn't it be better if you're able to mold the virtual environment yourself to the unique processes of your own business? Well, now you can. Python scripting is here for the virtual environment. If you have that ability within your business, it's more prevalent than you might first think. Then really the opportunities are endless, which is it's a really great capability to have. Of course, Apache HVAC, it's a world-class leading tool that continues to have a lot of resource time spent in the development time, and again, V 2017 lets us have another step forward there. One of the key aspects here will be our load reporting, so particularly for those more on the design engineering side, I think they're going to be it's going to really help with the way that they approach their analysis within the virtual environment and tie up that side. Again, I'll go through some improvements on the hot water side, sensible storage and chilled water loops, and chiller performance curve library as well. That's all in there. There is a huge array of improvements or enhancements to HVAC, Apache HVAC, as you would expect. Won't have time today to go through all of them, but those are the main ones. Another big news item, Parallel Simulation Manager. So being able to manage your simulations in a more orderly way, looking at a more efficient workflow and how you approach your simulation. So those days of sitting down, doing a simulation and having to wait until that simulation is finished before you can crack on to the next one, those are now well and truly gone. We'll go through that later. Radiance has been parallelized, which is great. It's ever more and more quicker. Each year it gets quicker and quicker. We've got new product tools as well in conjunction with breathing buildings and Monodraught. Again, being able to specify those particular technologies quicker and more accurately than ever before. And also some other enhancements that should be noted as well. So ModelViewer, floor plans, so be able to separate the building out into floor plans, which is great. We've got sessions in Vista Pro, being able to save graphical information, dynamic daylighting Radiance, an improved sun path in ModelViewer, where you're able to control that as well. Again, Python, Windrows, scripts, that's really as a wee taster in there for you. Tariffs in Vista Pro, and linked Gaia CTD as well for more realistic geothermal calculations. So there's a lot to get through, and I'm happy to do that. Okay, so let's start off and let's look at some of these new capabilities. Hopefully by now you have downloaded V 2017. If you haven't, you're able to do that within your existing virtual environment. There will be a pop-up box when you log in, and it will take you to the website to download, or of course you can just bypass that and go direct to www.isv.com and download the software then. Okay, the first major news item, and this is a very important one, and I know that a lot of you will be happy to see this, is the inclusion of a parallel simulation manager. So what is this? Effectively what this means is that now you can run simulations separate to the virtual environment. So when you run a simulation, and this effectively works in the background, it will not lock up the virtual environment software. It will allow you to set up a simulation, run that, and then carry on to set up another simulation. Again, big news item, and will drastically improve the approach that you take to simulation. In more detail, you're able to access the simulation manager at the bottom right hand side. You can see there the inclusion next to the alert box tab, the tasks tab. You can click on that. This will bring up this view, this task view, and will then detail each of the simulations that are running at any one time. You can prioritize simulations over others, and you can then from high, medium, and low. And also you can include, for example, your email address in there so that once simulation's finished, you'll be notified by email. So again, giving you more control over your time with simulation. The simulation manager works across the virtual environment platform, and so there can be wildly different simulations that are happening. So for example here, you're seeing Part L compliance calculations, Suncast, Radiance calculations all happening at the same time there. Something that I suspect you've probably been looking for some time, and now you've got it. Again, great free upgrade within V 2017. We talked about the building operation side of IES in the industry. One of the key things there is to be able to reflect real-world scenarios within the simulation software. We continue to do this. One of the key aspects in this upgrade has been submetering. In effect, you're able to include any number of submetering within the virtual environment more formally. It's very easy, it's unlimited, and will then feed straight into Vista Pro. Vista has now been dropped from the virtual environment. It's now Vista Pro is the main analysis view that you'll be working from. We can talk about that later. Another key improvement is the ability now not just to include your PV analysis within Apache systems, but now you're able to you have the opportunity to actually draw the PV panels within the model itself. So geometric photovoltaics within your calculations. Again, this is about taking more real-world analysis into the calculations that you're performing. So it allows the assessment of PV potential to take the physical location into account. This is a great example of a request, numerous requests from clients that got fed through the feedback at iesv.com email address straight into development, and so it's done. So you asked for it, and now you've got it. Again, another free upgrade within V 2017. Not only that, it also we have expanded the PV library that's associated there as well. So clearly, it's clearly obvious that this opens up further opportunities on this. It should be said that the traditional method of taking into account analysis without the geometric capabilities is still there. Again, it's entirely whatever best meets your analysis for that project. We have now added parabolic solar collectors to the solar heating. You can see up there. You can see in the top right, it used to just be flat and none are as options. Now you've got parabolic. You can now connect that to your pump meter. This is available through Apache systems and also includes for a buffer tank model. It's not just for domestic hot water, but also space water loop preheating as well. So that's good to know. Okay, now for another one of the big news items. So I said at the start, the ability now to mold the virtual environment to exactly what it is that you need it to do. We know that even with our sizable development base here at IES, we can't do everything for you, and so we're happy to do this. We have changed the API for the virtual environment to Python scripting. Python scripting is maybe more common in the world of simulation than you might first think, and I'm sure some of you listening to this already have experience within this coding language. But in essence, you're able to use Python for fully customize the virtual environment to what you need. It will provide automation, and it will certainly improve opportunities for reporting direct from the virtual environment. There's really two aspects of the Python scripting in terms of the virtual environment. There is the integrated development environment for the Python or the Python console. Effectively, that is where you would write the scripts themselves. So that's one half, writing the scripts. The second half is the placeholder for Python navigators. So you're able to save your scripts for use by yourself or throughout your company, or if you want to pass to others as well. Really, the opportunities here are endless, as you can imagine. Now, Python as a language is fairly prolific. If you just Google Python, you'll very quickly end up in various libraries. All of this can be integrated with the virtual environment. So with a little bit of knowledge, you're able to splice in Python script from other sources into the virtual environment and benefit from that. We internally had somebody who's never done any coding themselves before, and within a morning was able to create a windrows using a previous library within the software itself. So a little bit of guidance and a little bit of enthusiasm, and it really is amazing where you can go with this. So yes, of course you can use ready-made scripts, or you can create them all yourself. There is a comprehensive user guide to get started. There will be dedicated training events for Python scripting for our clients. The next one that I'm aware of will be held up here in the headquarters in Glasgow on the 6th of April, and is open to everyone to come to. So if you'd like to know more about that, then please just email me or email training, and we'll put you in the right direction for that. Again, it's about creating your own content for reporting, visualization, or analysis. It's important to note that the calculation itself isn't open. The calculation methodology itself isn't open, but the inputs and outputs are. And of course, you can then take outputs into your own calculation and feed them back into inputs. It's a really interesting aspect. It'll be able to, another key point is that you're able to, it will drastically reduce time spent on certain tasks through automation. You're able to define your own workflows and navigators bespoke to your company. It'll tighten up quality assurance as well with your own workflows. So for example, one sort of simple aspect you might look at, if you're thinking, what on earth is this to do with me? You may want, for example, data to come out of the virtual environment and auto-populate into your own Word documents with your company's letterhead and footer and that sort of aspect. Again, being able to cut down on the administration side or the writing up side and allowing you to focus more time on the engineering side or the analysis side of what you're doing. Another exciting part of the Python scripting capability is the ability to promote scripts to Navigator. Okay, so these navigational workflows that you are now kind of used to within the virtual environment, they sit alongside the application modules within the virtual environment. You're able to take these scripts and promote them to navigators, which you would then find within your navigational workflow. So what does this mean? It means that you may have somebody within the organization that understands Python scripting, and they're very confident in doing that, but others within the business may not be confident dealing with scripts, but would benefit from that, that workflow. So what you're able to do is be able to promote them to Navigator for others to use without them worrying about changing the code that they're using. So it's a bit like, I suppose in a simple term, going from a Word document to PDF. You do that and then you're not able to change the text within the PDF. So it's the same idea here. So you're able to share the navigators throughout the business and other users will be able to find them underneath their Python script category within the navigational workflows within the software themselves. Another exciting step as well is that very shortly IES will have a kind of, well, it will be a script store. So if you think along the idea of an app store, there will be a script store where people, external people, third parties, if they are generating scripts that they feel would be useful to the wider world, they will be able to share those scripts through the online script store on the ISV website. So that's another exciting aspect of what's happening here. Okay, another sizable release. Now, I sort of mentioned two key products. The first one is the Parametric Tool. This will be a free tool within the virtual environment 2017. What does this allow you to do? This is an evolution, a continuing evolution of what was previously the parametric batch simulation tool. That was, you would have seen that in Apache Sim. Here again, like the Parallel Simulation Manager, this has been improved and then separated from the main virtual environment. What does this mean? It means that when you're running those simulations, it's not locking up the virtual environment. So effectively what you're able to do is you're able to batch these simulations to run maybe later. So maybe one key aspect of this will be the ability to set up simulation, put it aside in the parametric simulator and carry on setting up other simulations. And maybe you'll run those simulations around in the background. So that's freeing up your time completely. Now, one of the key things here is that you're able to change variables within your simulations. So for example, what we're seeing there in the top line is that we've got a simulation running and there's going to be 7 weather files that are going to be used on that same simulation. And so what that will do is you'll set up that simulation, you'll attach those 7 weather files. When that runs, it will then run those 7 simulations sequentially or in parallel if you have multiple modules. And you're able to combine and link other simulations as well to provide an overall number of simulations. We can to create your group of simulations. I'll talk about that in the next slide in a second. The key aspects really here are it's an independent tool to run parametric studies on the virtual environment models, but it doesn't lock up the VE, so you're constantly able to work away. You're able to, through a tool called Element, create templates to run these parametric simulations. Now what that means is, for the more advanced users, you would be able to create your own templates. For those that are new to this, you may wish to use previously made templates to run this. And again, if you think within a business, a larger business where you're creating a library, you can start to create libraries of templates, so standard approaches to your simulation that you would then use time and time again on other projects. So again, reducing the amount of time that you're spending. The Parametric Tool is completely customizable, making it perfect for the more advanced users amongst us. And the Parametric Tool only produces the results you ask for, so reduces the amount of storage required. I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. So how does the Parametric Tool work? Well, we're going to look here at two different groupings. The first one here, what we're seeing is we're running a simulation against 7 weather files, then 3 extract variables, and then 3 flow variables. So 7 plus 3 plus 3 equals 13 simulations. Okay, so they're sort of sequential singular variables. Or you can combine variables which are going to then be linked. So you have the second kind of strategy that you could be employing. So here what we mean is that for each of those 7 weather variables, you would then run the extract variable and the flow variable against that. So instead of it being 7 plus 3 to give you 13 simulations, in this case you'd be doing your 7 weather files, but each running 6 simulations. So that would give you the 42 simulations that you'd be doing. So very powerful, and you can see very quickly how simulations can build up. The other thing as well is we have the Elements tool alongside. I won't touch too heavily on this, but it allows very quick post-processing to take place, but also you're able to, as you drill into the results, only save the results that you're really looking for or download the results you're looking for. So in return for this, it also manages the amount of storage file that you require for it. You can understand how that's key with so many simulations going on. And again, start to think about, well, this data that's coming out, how can you then use Python scripting to enhance this as well? Okay, so maybe stepping up a gear, and our big news really for V 2017 is Hone. Hone is an optimization tool, and this is a distinct advancement from, for example, the parametric tool that we saw. So the two are really very separate. Again, Hone is independent to the virtual environment. It won't lock up the virtual environment when you're using it, which is great. So you can see that as a motif as we go through. Just like the parametric tool with its templates that you can then use, so that those it can be used again and again on next projects very, very quickly, or for those that maybe aren't quite as advanced to creating their own. Hone uses worksheets as well for carrying out optimization studies. It's completely customizable, even down to the graphs that are rendered, making it perfect for the expert user. Okay, so what is optimization? So optimization is a phrase that we, and not just the construction industry, but everyone bands around a lot. But what we mean by this is that it's an evolutionary algorithm-based study. It uses a genetic algorithm too. What that does is that as you carry out a study, the evolutionary algorithm uses Darwin's theory of evolution, natural selection, to look at the results, and if the results aren't going to make it, or if there are stronger results, it will favour the stronger results and it will delete the weaker results. So what you then have is eventually, in the green line you see in front of you, a Pareto curve where the optimums will be will then show themselves against the study objectives. So what that means is that you might, for example, very quickly set up a study that has 10,000 simulations, but as the study takes place, the genetic algorithm understands that maybe 50% of them won't achieve what you're looking for, and so will delete them. And so therefore, not only does it bring you back more of the relevant results, but it also speeds up dramatically the overall process. The optimization methodology really follows three key components. It's objectives. So you need to think about, it's not really about a single analysis anymore, it's about what it is, what's the goals of the study, what are your objectives. So for example, here in that green, you can see here you've got comfort versus carbon emissions, and you would then work on a 2-variable, 3-variable objective study. You then would then think about your variables. So what are the areas that you can change to meet your objectives? So for example, what we mean by that is, look, instead of setting up, as you do just now, you set up a single simulation to run and everything is fixed values. But instead of maybe putting in a fixed value, maybe think about an HVAC set point and what are the minimum and maximum values that actually you could get away with within that particular design. And you could then put that in and then put in intervals for studies within that. So think about orientation, for example, and being able to orientate from 0 to 360 degrees as minimum and maximum, and then but do simulations at every degree step. So you would do 360 degrees in that stage. And then of course you've got your constraints. And constraints could be, for example, it could be cost. So it could be, or it could be life cycle cost. So you could say, look, I don't want to look at, I've got a budget here of 10 million, I don't want to look at solutions out with maybe 11 million, for example. And therefore the genetic algorithm will then look at those constraints as well and say, look, this is going to cost more than that 11 million limit, upper limit, and therefore we'll delete those solutions out for you. So very customizable, very powerful. I know that a lot of you will be very interested in taking this forward. The workflow, so the way that you use optimization, you have two routes. Firstly, you can use elements, which is our interface for linking the virtual environment to Hone. Again, using and again, you can either set these up from scratch, or you can use worksheets that you can share within the business. Or secondly, again, if you're involved in Python scripting, you could go down to Python scripting and use that to link the two together. Either way, both of which we'll be able to use on our script store. You'll be able to take worksheets for the Hone tool from there as well. There will be a number of worksheets included within the VE 2017 module for you to get a head start on already. Okay, let's kind of running out of time a little bit, so I'll move on. Another enhancement has been in ModelViewer. It used to be in the input data visualization tool. You would only be able to see the building as a whole. Again, this has come direct from client feedback. You want to be able to split that out into the floors. So you can see here in your input data visualization tool, you go down to the bottom right hand side, you can select floors by story or inactive. You select by story, you can then split out the floors and understand maybe more clearly exactly how the data is contained in that building. Okay, another big one, in Radiance, for some time we've had dynamic daylighting in beta that has now been fully completed. Radiance has been slightly amended and evolved to take account of dynamic daylighting in there. The dynamic daylighting calculation methods include useful daylighting illuminance, UDI, spatial daylighting autonomy, SDA, annual sunlight exposure, ASE. The UDI and SDA, for those in the UK, tend to be used in the Education Funding Authority, UK climate-based daylight modelling. The SDA and ASE are maybe more for our American colleagues or for those working with LEED version 4. There are some differences in opinion on the ranges between different rating schemes, and users should choose the range and the luminance values carefully. Defaults in the software have been chosen sensibly, but it's definitely worth knowing that you may need to adjust to meet local needs. For all of the daylighting calculations, there are really two stages. So the first one will be in the simulation tab. You would select the study that you're looking to do, so you click advanced and then you would select the relevant dynamic daylighting tool you want to do there. And then the next one will be the dynamic results you can see further along in the tab screenshot in front of you. So really good news there. Now, also, just before actually we move on there, one of the key things for this as well is that we have effectively rebuilt Radiance, and you'll have noticed in recent years it's getting a lot quicker. It is now exceptionally fast. So speed for daylighting calculations in terms of, so we were looking at a full year, so 365-day test, looking at UDI. That test in VE 2016 was 58 minutes, so almost an hour. In this version, that's down to 7 minutes. Okay, so it's about 1/10 in terms of the speed that it does there, or 10 times faster, which is great. Again, you're able to run Radiance dynamic daylighting in simulation separate to the virtual environment, and so yeah, a big move forward. Tariffs, again, real-world scenarios. We need to reflect that within the virtual environment. Our tariff capability has been redesigned to make it much more straightforward. Additional calendar control in there, more real-world lifelike, and also a direct link into VistaPro as well. Again, you can fully customize this through custom variables. A really important feature, as you'd imagine, particularly with those working in building operation. So key points there. So improved workflow for tariffs, making it a lot quicker and easier. Greater visibility of tariffs in Vista Pro for your analysis, and you can use custom variables there. Within Vista Pro, again, remember Vista has now been dropped and will be fully phased out in VE 2018. So Vista Pro is really your singular analysis view. Within there, we have something called sessions. Sessions is the ability to save graphs, table, and tests, etc., and bring them back up there, so you're not losing them as you move away from the virtual environment. Again, it helps with post-processing and analysing changes within the model. A great feature. It's a huge time saver as well, being able to bring them straight up and not having to recalculate to do that. Multiple sessions can be saved at any time. Variable combinations for rooms, surfaces, timings, etc. Again, this is another example of feedback through that feedback email address. So keep going. We do listen. A couple of key product tools. First one's Monodraught's hybrid thermal mixing system. Why do we do this? Basically, you look for it. The key drivers here are being able to use these products within the virtual environment faster and more accurately than you would do otherwise. It can be set up directly through a navigational workflow. Within that, there's in-model checks to ensure minimizing or removing errors in setting it up. And also, particularly for those in the UK, there's special features in there for guidance for setting up for compliance with Part L and automated SIBSE TM52 reporting. So another great partnership there with the Monodraught guys. Of course, don't forget, Monodraught are always there on hand to help you. So they're always more than happy to speak with you direct about any particular project and so forth going that way. So please do. The other one is breathing buildings, naturally ventilated heat recovery products. That's now within the virtual environment. Again, it's about speed and accuracy, minimizing any errors or removing them. Again, it has a navigational workflow set to it, and again, it has particular guidance for compliance with Part L and automated SIBSE TM52 reporting. Now, it seems a bit of a shame to call these miscellaneous because they're not really, but there are a number of additional enhancements I'm just going to quickly cover just now. The first one is the solar arc. So sometimes the solar arc was maybe not the right size compared to the 3D model within the virtual environment. That has been evolved and is now much better. But actually, what we've done is we've also given you the chance to create your own arc and sun size. So if you're really wanting the sun size to be massive, then you can do that. It's entirely up to you. The other news story as well is about air density, so taking into account elevation of the site, and the building itself, that obviously has an impact on airflow and such forth, so good for your, again, for more accuracy in terms of load calculations. That's what we're there. Again, that's both of these features came directly through client feedback, so well done. That's good to see. We talked about the Interoperability Navigator. This is great. So yes, we've got lots of technology within the virtual environment that we've developed over the years for interoperability, such as healing algorithms and such forth. Now, for the virtual environment, we need to be able to connect to other data sources. We know as users are using numerous data platforms. And so, for example, it may be getting your 3D model from the architectural tool to the virtual environment for allowing you to perform your analysis. What we've done is we've put that all into a single navigational workflow. All the import settings, modeling guidance, and new functionality is all within this single navigator. In the background, the shell correction, the room geometry healing side of things, has been improved and goes through a second correction phase that has an improved success rate of fixing geometry imported from other packages. Any errors within the geometry can be viewed in a new quarantine zone from the model tree and the model viewer. The model viewer also allows for visible checking of surface orientations, which were previously only listed in a report. That report that you previously used is still there and exists alongside that. So again, it's a free upgrade within VE 2017. What is this? Doesn't matter if you're the most advanced user or if you're brand new to the virtual environment. If you want to bring a model into the virtual environment, this is the process that we recommend you to use. If you use this, you will have little to no problems at all, as long as the original model is relatively well. But even if it doesn't, it will walk you through the process and how to bring it in. Once the model's in and you're doing your analysis, this will also help you update the geometric model with the latest model as well. It'll help you detach the data, delete the old geometry, put in the new one, and reattach the data. So this will become, hopefully, we would recommend it's been a standard workflow. Now, back in February the 2nd, we did our BIM faculty that we do every year, and in there we highlighted this tool, but we also showed what an increasing numbers of our advanced users are doing, and that is bi-directional workflow. So Jean Curie, our BDM, showed, for example, between Revit and IES, not just bringing data from Revit into IES, but back again, effectively syncing that data. So while that might be for the advanced users, that's becoming more and more prevalent, and that's what you can achieve to, but we see that Interoperability Navigator is your first step for everyone. Distance learning is you're able to access, of course you're able to access straight from our website, but you can do that within the virtual environment itself. Model rendering has been improved. It's now faster than ever before. If you have a graphics card, you'll really see the difference there. Auto-saving, again, it's a good feature, and as I've said before, Vista's being retired and phased out. 2018 is it will be fully VistaPro, so now's the time to get ahead and be using that. Again, updates to compliance, particularly here in the UK. Okay, just want to very quickly cover some key aspects within HVAC. I'll quickly go through this because I'm sort of running out of time, but one of the key things, again, this has been feedback from clients, is particularly more on the engineering design side, is the way that you access information from your analysis. So here you can see our new reports for system loads and sizing. It will be more maybe familiar from the design engineering side, and will definitely help link up the modelling between maybe more the simulation and the design engineering departments. So here you can see at project level loads analysis information such as geometry, site, climate, design, weather, loads, conditions, and overall building loads. We believe this is a fairly comprehensive and concise, user-friendly layout. It's black and white. It's perfect for printing and sharing. And of course, all our reports for this follow this this motif. So here you can see plant loop and equipment loads analysis. Again, you can see here space loads and ventilation report. It makes it really quick and easy to look at designing loads, heating, cooling, airflows, ventilation for each system, zones and the rooms within zones. It makes it great for interrogation for Q&A and design analysis. Again, black and white. Another thing is that if the table is bigger than your the paper you're printing on, it will then, the headings will then continue on to the next paper, so you don't need to worry about it all fitting onto one page. Here again, system zone and room loads report with respect to geometry, envelope gains and losses, internal gains and losses, mechanical gains and losses, contribution of coil loads, coil sizing, system and room air temperature, airflow rates, ventilation requirements, and engineering checks. Another good aspect about the reports is the ability to then start incorporating, again, if you're thinking about the Python scripting again, what you could do with the data from this and how you could then develop that internally. Again, you can bring all of this into your own spreadsheets or Word documents and so forth for further processing or analysis or sharing. Again, all of it, a comprehensive range of valuable loads data for system rooms and zones and rooms. It's a clear format and great for sharing. Okay, so that's more on the load side. I think that will really help a number of you. The other aspect is Plenums. There's been a big improvement here. There's been a lot of development around Plenum voids and stratified spaces, making it more user-friendly, more intuitive to use, basically, in terms of doing that. Again, automated assignment of thermal templates, which again makes it more efficient to use. And of course, if you're drawing that, then that's great, but also you want to be able to reflect that within Apache HVAC. So we have smart Plenum components within HVAC. Again, really minimizes the time and effort when dealing with Plenums within your calculations. And another aspect of Apache HVAC is duct leakage, something that you've been looking for as well, so we can model that. And now you can see within this controller dialog where profiles are applied, how the value for each of the HVAC system profiles relates to the space cooling and heating set point profile values. And therefore, obviously, how this will influence control sequencing as the space gets warmer or cooler. And we now have a performance curve library as well within Apache HVAC. It's a new set of tools for loading, visualizing, customizing polynomial fit curve performance data for your HVAC equipment. And again, you can print this out and share it. There's been enhancements to our hot water loop, further advancements in terms of auto-sizing, equipment sequencing, configuration, flow control, pumps, loop temperature controls, preheating sources, and so forth. The Apache HVAC, I mean, Apache HVAC really now it really has evolved into one of the most powerful and I would say user-friendly tool of its kind anywhere. There's a lot of potential to be had from Apache HVAC. And again, think about the building operational side of where we work. Thermal storage modeling on the chilled water loop. It's been included to include sensible storage. You might use this typically for large facilities and campuses. So that's a run through an overview of all the major features really within V2017. We've gone through quite a lot there. The key ones certainly are Hone with the optimization tool and the Parametric Tool, the BIM Interoperability Navigator that really will help improve importing your models into the virtual environment. Python scripting, being able to shape the virtual environment into whatever really you want it to be. Load reporting for design engineers and tying up that those departments. Parallel Simulation Manager, maybe a small feature but very important, being able to run your simulations effectively out with the virtual environment itself, and so therefore there's nothing stopping you from running many more simulations than you have done in the past, many more projects. Dynamic daylighting within Radiance and lots of other great things. Now, I've just done an overview there. Feel free to go to our YouTube channel. In there you will see a playlist for V2017. So it's ISVE channel on YouTube. There you'll see a series of videos showing you each one of these capabilities in detail. They normally last between 2.5 and 3 minutes, depending on what's going on there, and they're very good indeed to really understand what's happening. Look, I just want to say thank you very much for joining me today. You've got my email address there in front of you. If there are any questions at all that you'd like to ask me on a one-to-one, or if you'd like to know more about a certain capability, a live demo, or whatever it is that you would like, then I'm happy to arrange that for you. We're always here to help. Again, if you haven't downloaded 2017 yet, then hopefully this will prompt you to do so. So thanks again. Hopefully that was of use to you, and have a great day. Thank you.